You guys ready? Oh, the cameras are okay. The cameras are okay. They're here. Welcome. We're live. Oh my God, we're live. I don't know what to say about it other than hi, everyone. Yeah, we're all terrified to use Alan's sound effects because they always seem to not work.
I don't even bother anymore.
It's like one of those things, man. I just okay.
I think I got COVID.
Okay, everyone, let's pause for a second. Let's start this right. Okay. Okay. And we're live! Okay, done. All right, so welcome everyone to the Crafty Boys. It's Wednesday night, and I have to be honest, I kind of forgot it was Wednesday because I've been working really hard on a project, but that's okay. Allison was like, "Hey, you doing your podcast tonight?" And I'm like, "Is it Wednesday?" Yes, it's Wednesday.
I was wondering about that because you didn't say anything.
Yeah, I totally didn't.
You should hear something from one of you guys earlier than that.
And then I looked at the phone. And I'm like, "Yep, they're talking about beer that I don't have, but that's okay."
You don't have a beer?
I have beer. I just don't have the beer that you guys have. And of course, hello Locke. Thank you for staying up so late on your end of the world. Make sure that you sleep in tomorrow. Guys, carry the show, and I'm gonna go and get my beer. Bear back.
Okay, well, hey, maybe you and I should introduce what our beer is. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, what are you drinking tonight?
All right. So, we have the Atomic Joker. Yeah. So, this bad boy is a cherry porter. 6% was in it, and this guy happens to have 30 international beer units.
And it's made by it's a limited release from Bridge Brewing in where are they out of? North Vancouver.
I had thought of me, obviously, that by getting Bridge, Shane would at least have a reasonable chance of finding something by these guys. But
what am I finding?
And he probably did have a reasonable chance. He just actually has to go outside to.
Hey man, COVID man, COVID man, COVID is deadly, man. If I get COVID, I'm toast, man. Yeah, you're right. I could leave the house and go do that, which I haven't. Actually, so what's really stupid is that for the past few weeks I've been going out for a walk like early in the morning every day, and I walk past like 3 liquor stores.
yeah, of course they're not open for another.
Well, they're not open at the time, but you know, it's not like I couldn't do it. Is my point. Have we talked about the beer yet?
Yeah, we've introduced it. We haven't smelled or anything. But we'll do that after.
The beer I'm drinking. The where?
The Joker's weird.
Oh, strange. Well, I'm drinking New Hazy by Red Truck again.
All right. What are you drinking, Locke?
So, all right. So I ordered me up some Mad Tom IPA from Muskoka Brewing, in fact, Madder Tom, I think is what it's called. It's a double IPA version of the regular Mad Tom IPA. And so tonight, what we're going to be having here in Toronto, is Creemore Lager, because that's what showed up.
All right.
Nice.
So, what can I tell you? So Creemore is a beer that's sort of, back, I would say 20 years ago, if you were in Ontario and you were looking for craft beer, you might, I guess, count Creemore as something. I mean, at least it was local. The brewery wasn't Labatt's or fucking Molson, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Beyond that, they're strikingly unremarkable in my view, but for a boring lager, it's reasonably well. It's decent. It's not contemptible piss.
That is one of the best beer names I have heard in a long time. Contemptible piss. Like, I want somebody to brew that.
Locke, would you rank the Creemore Springs, what you're drinking, how would you rank that compared to, say, Alberta Genuine Draft?
Oh, it's definitely... I prefer Alberta Genuine Draft because it's from Alberta, but that's the only reason I prefer Alberta Genuine Draft. It's arguably a better product than AGD. Like it doesn't have that sort of, it's not a Pilsner. It doesn't have, much flavor. But
as a matter of fact, it just sucks.
Flavor as it has is totally inoffensive. Which is to say that it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not contemptible piss.
So are you saying, Locke, that this is kind of like the training wheels of beer?
Yeah, if you've never look, put it this way: if all you'd ever had was a Coors Light or a Budweiser or Labatt's or Molson's, and you came across this, you might be starting to thinking, "Oh, God, there's this whole world out there. This undiscovered country of half decent beer. Jesus, I should get out more." And whatever else I can say about it, it's sort of like going out to get ice cream and finding out that your ice cream parlor serves two flavors, vanilla and vanilla. I mean, it's.
But at least you have ice cream.
For vanilla ice cream, it's not bad. It's it's. Yeah. I mean. They didn't make any significant errors.
Okay.
Significant.
So, Dave, what are you thinking of the Atomic Joker here? Tell me what you think.
It's nice. It's not what I was expecting. Not that it ever is.
Okay.
I would say...
No one expects the Joker!
Yeah, so I mean, it's got some cherry. I would say, to me, it seems to have a chocolate.
Okay, fair enough.
It's
Are we
substantial.
talking Black Forest cake kind of chocolate?
No, actually, we're talking more some kind of fancy fucking chocolatey square thingy that uses cocoa and then cacao nibs on top, that kind of a situation.
Doesn't sound too bad to me. Perhaps.
It's not like what most people would consider, a Black Forest cake, right? Sweet,
God.
cherries. These cherries are frickin' sour cherries.
Really?
Oh.
Okay, because what I'm getting from it, I'm not getting the chocolate. I'm getting sort of more of a maraschino cherry kind of flavor to it than an actual sort of like fresh cherry.
You gotta remember though, the difference between Alan and I is Alan likes his beers as beers because he's a real beer drinker, and I like my beers as as sort of sweet as I can manage to get away with, which doesn't happen very often because most beer drinkers don't want to go there. So there's not a lot of
remember
like that.
Yeah, remember when you tried you and Alan, and I don't remember me having it because I couldn't find it here, but that cake beer and
from Longwood.
Yeah, and you guys were like this. I don't know. I don't remember you guys reacting very well to it. That it was just too sweet. It's like, yes, I understand what they're doing, but oh my god, please don't do it again. Because it was painful to try and get through, and I didn't want to finish it, so thanks, but no thanks.
Similar, Shane. That cake beer from Longwood was similar to what's it called? The Schwarzfeld from Parallel 49, which we had in one of the advent calendars. Where it was
I would have to go back and look. I don't remember.
It was the Black Forest cake porter. And it was similar in flavor, but I thought the Parallel 49 one was better.
Really?
Yeah. But anyway, back to this one here. So immediately, as soon as I opened up the can, I got this whiff of cherries. But more like a candied cherry than a fresh cherry. It smells amazing. Yes, it does. It's really, really dark. You can't see through it. I hold it up to the light, and the light doesn't even shine through. The flavor of it is a very rich cherry, but it's to me it's a sweeter kind of cherry, maybe a little bit too sweet for my liking. Even though it is a porter, and a porter you would expect to be a bit sweeter, but maybe this one's just a little bit too sweet. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, that's for me.
So
I
basically,
would get it again.
Beer. You would get it again?
I would get it again.
Okay. That should be our final rating. Would get again. No, I'm sorry. It was not contemptible piss. Or a ranking of contemptible piss. What would be the opposite of contemptible piss? Come on, Locke, dig deep, man, dig deep.
The opposite of contemptible piss would be
The devil's urine.
that would be so really foul piss then.
Pretty much. So
people.
The opposite end of the spectrum would be something like I think I once described a particular mead as having the tone of the cry of a Valk and of what a beverage could be. I mean, something of beauty and dignity.
A Valkyrie's caress.
Indeed.
The Valkyrie's bathwater. I don't know why that would be a good thing, but you never know. So, what's been going on this week? What is going on? We've been talking about COVID for the last however many weeks, 12, 10, 12, something like that.
It's been about 2 months.
What else is actually happened in the world? I have stories, but I'm going to let you guys fill in the blanks first.
Well, for me personally, I'm sort of getting settled in to this home life thing. Now, I don't know about you guys. I've been reading stories about, you can expect divorces and stuff. Like after this is done, there's going to be a huge lineup of people having divorces at divorce court or whatever. I'm finding actually just the opposite. I mean, the family here has never been closer. It's been a bit of a blessing in disguise, maybe.
Alan, I thought you were still rolling into the office, Alan. So that's changed.
Well, yeah, I am still rolling into the office. We're not under quarantine here or anything. Both my wife and I are working. And actually, my middle son is working. My oldest is not. My youngest is too young to work. So,
but that could change.
Yeah, it could change.
Into the spice mine with you.
But you know what? I mean, we're not going out as much. or at all. So we actually have more disposable income than we have probably had in the last 2 decades. And
nowhere to spend it.
Projects around the house.
So what projects have you done recently?
Okay, so we're working on making a patio in the backyard, a place to put like our table and chairs, a barbecue, and we're looking at getting a hot tub.
Nice. You could never say no to a hot tub.
No.
Oh, nice.
Well, unless that the person inside of it has leprosy, then you might want to say no.
That means you're out, Dave. Sorry, man. Can't use the hot tub. Damn leper.
What if I just leave that limb out? Is that okay?
By leave out, do you mean as you're getting in, it just falls off? Or you get in and hang it out? Or I guess it depends on what part of your body you have.
Whatever works.
Making fun of deadly diseases. We're awesome.
Well, I mean, leprosy's not gone. It's still around. It's not going to go away. But, you know.
Which is weird, because that's an ancient one, isn't it?
Oh, well, most diseases are. Even COVID, like these things have been around forever, but we just never ran into them because they were infecting other animals.
What about
yeah,
like polio or diphtheria? Those are, you know.
They're still around.
I'm not even
somewhere.
sure diphtheria is a thing anymore. I think it's gone. Polio, I thought, was pretty much gone.
Okay, I'm looking
I've
at
even
diphtheria.
heard we've had a couple of cases of bubonic plague. What? No, I haven't heard that at all.
Okay, here.
There have been rumors of bubonic plague taking hold in small isolated communities, like nothing serious, but I mean, part of that one is that, you know, we understand that one a lot better. So ultimately, and that one, if you control for rats and fleas, then, you know, you're not going to catch it by somebody breathing, right?
Well,
we're better going for rats and fleas than we used to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking up statistics for the plague. And apparently in November 2017, there was an outbreak of it. There's also a child in Idaho in June 2018 was the first person there to be infected by the plague in nearly 30 years. A couple died in May 2019 in Mongolia. Sorry?
Holy.
It's still around. It's just not. It's not at pandemic levels because, you know, we had this thing called a vaccine eventually that was able to stop. Well, maybe not the bubonic plague. Come to think of it, is there a vaccine? I have no idea.
Smallpox up there.
Smallpox is what I'm thinking about. But by the way, diphtheria. I just checked this out, Dave. You never want this. It's horrible. But there are still. It's still around. There have been. Quite a few. So basically, the world averages something like 300 or 400 cases a year. And apparently most of the people that get it do die because they don't actually realize they have diphtheria, but there you go. So it seems that there's, in the 90s, there was about 30,000 or so, but as time has gone on, it's dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. And apparently in November 2019, it appeared in Scotland. So there you go. But anyway, so it seems to be, you know, less than 1,000 a year. Leprosy, however, I'm very curious about leprosy because, hey, why not? Who isn't? Apparently it's 200. Oh, wow. Globally in 2018, there were at least 209,000 known cases of people with leprosy. Down from 5 to 6 million in the 80s. So there you go. Wow, fascinating. I definitely do not want this disease ever. But
I don't know if there's anybody that says that they want a disease.
I don't think so. I mean, You can only do so much.
You know that the millennials are throwing COVID-19 parties where the idea is somebody with COVID-19 shows up and everybody catches it because they're trying to play at the herd immunity argument.
Well,
Well, and you know what I mean. There is some.
They just take their granted.
Granted, if they survive.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? The vast majority of them will. It's just.
Yeah, but do you want to be that one person who's like, I've got it, I'm going to be okay, and they drown in their own brain?
I heard it explained like this: if somebody gave you a handful of M&Ms, okay, or Skittles, or some sort of like delicious.
As long as it wasn't Ozzy Osbourne, because he'd want to sort them by color.
Okay, well, let's say there was 100 of them. Okay, you had 100.
Oh,
of them
Eddie
in
Van
your
Halen,
hand.
right? Sorry.
And they told, and the person who gave it to you said 3 of them will cause you to die. Would you eat any of them?
No, of course not.
No. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't catch me going to a COVID party knowingly. If I was at a party, wow, hey, this is a great shindig, guys. What's going on? What's going down? Oh, yeah, this is for us to catch that horrible disease. I'm going to leave now. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm going to bathe in bleach.
Oh, you gotta drink bleach. You gotta drink it.
No. You inject that stuff. That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's apparently it was apparently that did
You
happen.
adjust that. What is it? The fish tank cleaner stuff.
Fish tank cleaner?
That Trump is always talking about.
Oh, that thing. Oh, yeah, the hydro.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, actually, apparently, according to what I read, yes, yeah, that stuff. Apparently, the studies for the past couple of months have been they've been dumping money into figuring out whether that stuff actually would work. And now they've said, hey, it damages your heart and it's bad for you and it can cause all kinds of other problems. So, but hey,
So maybe
one of
not.
those M&Ms will kill you, and the rest will also kill you. So, so you better think very carefully about whether or not you eat those M&Ms. To be honest, I'm okay with staying at home for a while. I'm good with it.
For a while, you're gonna have to do it for more than a while, Shane. Look, I mean, a vaccine. Because, I mean, we're going to be doing this until there's a vaccine. A vaccine is... And I think,
a year away?
I think that is if it's only a year, consider yourself lucky.
Dude, I've got so much Doctor Who to catch up on. Second Doctor, man. That's where I'm at right now. I gotta get moving on this, because, I can't not. If I don't catch up on my Doctor Who... What kind of a nerd am I? I mean, really, when you think about it, I'll be just like the laughing stock of nerddom.
You should always check in with the doctor, right?
It's true.
Absolutely.
Have you guys been catching up on TV shows? Speaking of staying at home, have you guys been? I mean, Locke, I know you've been binging a few things.
Yeah. So right now, watching the show, the Netflix show.
The what? You totally Cylon there. Oh, really? How is it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's historical drama, so everything the characters say is plausibly deniable in case somebody got something wrong somewhere. But the production is fantastic. Like, it's really well shot. Cast is formidable. Dustin Hoffman in the first season. Yeah, I mean, if you're okay, so me, history nerd. Yeah, I mean, great for that kind of stuff because the architecture, the art, the costumes, all of it's sort of very, very well done. Yeah, so I've been enjoying that. Let me see. What else have I been watching? Oh, the other night I watched a little bit of some crazy thing where, like, so it seems to be an Indian production where a modern army are out to kill a bunch of peasants for a mining company, and basically they in their bad doings unleashed a 19th century unit from the East India Company of zombies. And so the East India Company zombies are killing everybody, and it's sort of good.
That sounds awesome.
What could go wrong with zombies, really?
So I need to ask you guys something, because my wife, she binge watches a lot of shows on Netflix and everything, and I occasionally sit down and watch one or two with her. I find them to be remarkably depressing. Most of them take place in a dystopian future where, you know, like, a lot of people are dying and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, my God, it's like, no wonder so many people are depressed. This is our media. This is what people are watching, right? This is what we're consuming.
Well, I think it's.
What do you guys?
I think that there's an argument to be made that the media that is created, not necessarily consumed, but is created, is really a reflection of the reality that people are living in. At least in contemporary television and film. I mean, I think that in the last, how long? 15 years? I'll say since 2000, there's been an explosion of zombie-related films that have tried to capture zombie films of the 70s, right? So, because there was a lot of when that was not the fare of the world. I mean, you have things like Dawn of the Dead from 70, what? I have no idea. 75, 77, 78, somewhere in there. Which was definitely a commentary on consumerism and blah 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 blah. And then we had through the 80s and the 90s, which was very much the everything is okay sort of world. At least from the stuff that I've seen. I mean, I'm sure there was a few things in there, but and then we had 9/11. I mean, that happened and affected the entire world in a lot of ways, not just of the event itself, but the ramifications of it, what happened afterwards. And I think we slid back into trying to dig back into literature and things like that to kind of try and find answers, really, when it comes down to it, or to make ourselves feel better. So you have dystopian things like The Hunger Games, which was quite popular. We had a lot of vampire stuff.
Games.
Sorry?
Don't forget the new Hunger Games.
Oh yeah, Allison has just finished reading. She burned through it in a couple days, but speaking of the Hunger Games, there's a new Hunger Games book that just came out a few days ago, like last Wednesday or Tuesday, which is a prequel. Tells the childhood story of Snow, if you know the Hunger Games at all, basically the protagonist of the book. So, and she thought it was quite good. Anyway, but we have the kind of that sort of cyclical thing where as time goes on, you know, right at the turn of 2000, right before that, we were watching Lord of the Rings, which is a fantasy thing. It's very, you know, light versus dark. And then 9/11 occurred around the same, you know, if about 6 months before that, when the first film came out. And we went back into that comfort. You know, we wanted to find out why. What was the answer to why? We were done with fantasy. We wanted more vampires. We wanted more monsters. We wanted more sort of dark. I mean, do you guys ever remember that Robin Williams film where he was playing the clerk? I think it was called 1 Hour Photo. The clerk at a photo booth. It was a very dark film. Like, we were seeing people like Robin Williams, who, you know, 10 years before was the genie and running around being all crazy, Next thing you know, he's playing this creepy stalker dude who collects photos from his customers at a photomat, and like hunts them down. And like it was a very strange film. It was a great film, but it was a very dark film. Like you had these kinds of things coming out. Where you had, Punch Drunk Love, which was an Adam Sandler film, which was just sideways from what he was known for.
I have to correct you on that. Punch Drunk Love is not an Adam Sandler film. It is a film that has Adam Sandler in it.
But the character I'm talking about. But as an actor known for, urinating on walls or running around doing crazy shit, for him to turn around and do something like that around that time, I think it was like 2003 when that came out. So, there's
a fair bit of uplifting stuff out there, though, if that's your cup of tea. So one of the things about being, sheltering in place, et cetera, you end up having to take on some of the tastes of the people you are sheltering with.
True.
Yeah, feel-good stories aren't really something I'm major on, but for that kind of thing, like New Amsterdam, it's a doctor show. Yeah, that's all that kind of thing, So it's got some drama, but ultimately it's all about people coming together and showing that they care about each other and fixing the world's problems, even though the problems still persist. But we'll come back the next day and we'll fight the good fight, and that stuff's out there. I don't know. So stuff that I dig right now, I don't know that. Yeah, for something, that one's pretty feel-good-ish. I would say The Rookie has a bit of that going on, although The Rookie also has some suspense and some dramatic realism, in terms of like.
Are you talking about the
Nathan Fillion?
Yeah, that one I think. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, So there's that. What else? But that I would say has probably a greater deal of realism than, say, T.J. Hooker. My theory is Nathan Fillion is essentially trying to recreate William Shatner's career in the same way that William Shatner was trying to recreate Leslie Nielsen's career.
Okay.
What?
Only Nathan Fillion's kind of doing it in reverse. But
dude, you gotta do some explaining there. I do not see that at all. How is Shatner trying to recreate Leslie Nielsen's career?
Well, both.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just like that's a totally wild angle.
Totally known as actors that play dramatic leading men up until a certain point in their career, at which point they both flip to comedy. The difference with Fillion is he's always had a bit of a comedy element in there, because for all that he was a space captain, Leslie Nielsen was a captain, you understand? You ever see the Poseidon Adventure?
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Sorry, which one? Captain. Whereas William Shatner was a space captain. And Fillion was a space captain, a cowboy space captain, right? Like it is getting weirder as time goes on, but
maybe I'm thinking of a different character. When I'm thinking Leslie Nielsen, I'm thinking Airplane.
But that happened late career. You see what I'm saying? He did Airplane because he was known in his early career as a guy who played really straight-faced dramatic roles, right?
I thought he got to start in what was that TV show? Police.
Squad? Police Squad? Tales from
yeah, right? From what, the 70s?
No, Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen was around for long. He was a leading man for a while.
So was that the 60s?
But ages. I would say late 50s, 60s, yeah.
Because that is comedy gold, that shit. Police Squad is like... one of the most amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it made his
Because
definitely,
Harrison
as
plays
Locke was saying,
the
it,
guy.
it made his later career. Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
The only problem with the police the police squad films, sorry, Naked Gun films, is that style of humor hasn't aged well. It's very
Disagree.
well. I mean, the cultural
If
references.
you watch Airplane now, and
Well,
I've
no.
seen Airplane.
I'm talking about Naked Gun. I'm not talking about Airplane.
Oh, sorry.
Airplane has some of that era commentary and references, but the Naked Gun ones, I watched them a few years ago, again, sort of one after the other, and I knew a bunch of the gags already because I had remembered them, but a lot of it was definitely making fun of stuff at the time, and it just kind of falls a bit flat because it's not in the sort of collective consciousness anymore. Where, I think for us, for people our age, in this age range, I think that we are definitely we'll find stuff funny from the 60s and 70s more so than in the 90s, for example. Which is when those films came out, sort of early 90s. right before OJ, which was, I have to admit, was weird to watch that. And every so often it's like, oh, it's OJ Simpson. Oh, right, yeah. This came out like a year before he got arrested. Okay, so, or that the whole trial of the what was it, the trial of the century or some ridiculous bullshit. He did it, okay? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. There's just, but it's not really about the content. It's that delivery, that style of gag when you're trying to land a punchline. I don't know. It just doesn't work as well because the way that those kinds of jokes are set up with the visual gag plus the commentary. I don't know.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I have a drinking problem. But the same thing. What was the other? The Hot Shots, and Hot Shots Part 2. We also had Loaded Weapon 1, if you remember that one.
Those were copycats.
Oh, very much so, very much so. But that,
Yeah. If you're gonna compare like Airplane and Naked Gun to anything, compare it to Top Secret.
That's true. Top Secret does age well because I just watched it, about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it actually is aged fine because it's making. So here's the thing: when you have visual gags that have some sort of, with a vocal sort of, dialogue tied into it, where you're not just looking at something funny. They're actually either acknowledging or completely ignoring, but they're also acknowledging. Does that make sense? But anyway, it was basically things like, for a lot of the gags you realize are from the 60s, and they've got like contemporary stuff like with James Bond and whatnot. But also you have Presley. You have a lot of the gags are from movies of like the 30s and 40s, stuff that, like Wizard of Oz, for example. I'll miss you most of all, that kind of sort of gag at the very end.
Yeah.
But, those kinds of things are in that consciousness that we have, where I don't think in the 90s when they were trying to make fun of stuff in the 80s, it didn't really land as hard because it was too soon. Make fun of it, sure, but 30 years down the road for a film, and you're watching it, you're like, oh yeah, that thing with that guy and that thing with that stuff that happened back in '89. Yeah, I kind of remember that. Why is that funny again? That kind of reaction. It's like, why was this funny? Oh, you have to when you have to do research on why something is funny, it doesn't work.
But it's also that some of the references goes over the heads of some of the younger viewers who are watching now. And I'll give you a case in point. So during the pandemic, I've been introducing my youngest son to some of the TV shows that I used to watch when I was his age. And one of them that we started watching, it was on a streaming service for free, is The Greatest American Hero.
Oh, jeez.
And so we were watching it, and I can't even remember his name, but
William Catt.
Well, no, William Catt. He played a teacher in a high school, and he was like a special ed teacher. That's what they referred to him as. But he had like problem kids, and the one of the main problem kids, his name was Tony, and his idol is Marlon Brando. I mean, this is a kid in the '80s whose idol is Marlon Brando. Nobody knows who Marlon Brando is anymore. I mean, certainly.
I don't know. Don't forget, Brando was in Apocalypse Now, which would have been fresh in that sort of realm, right?
So way after my kid was born.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. Sorry, I'm talking about kids in the '80s, but you're a kid, yeah. Sorry.
Anybody watch any Airwolf lately?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No way.
No,
Actually, I have watched Airwolf recently.
Really? And?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, look, I mean, it's terrible, but I love the '60s bashing. Like, it's
that's true.
So reactionary to the fucking hippies. It's awesome. I fucking love it. It's like
think fast, hippie!
Every time I get annoyed by baby boomers, like throw on some Airwolf, and it's just sort of like, oh yes.
You know, I gotta say, of all the one thing that I every time I've thought of Airwolf, I always get sad because of what was that guy's name? The lead.
Michael Vincent.
Yeah, and he really his life really was not awesome after that show ended. Drugs and all that kind of stuff, and then he died at the age of like 51 or something.
Shit.
Yeah, no, he did not have he had a drug problem. What else? I'm sure there was a reason for it, but I mean that kind of thing happens a lot in Hollywood, I guess. But I totally forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. I'll shut up.
And Ernest Borgnine died too. I mean,
in his 90s. Yeah, I mean, I've actually mentioned this on the show before, but I am in love with Ernest Borgnine. I wish he was still with us. But the thing is, I've probably shared this link with you guys where he was on Good Morning America or one of those sort of morning talk show things, advertising something, and one of the hosts said, Ernest, you're 93. What is your, this is like 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago now. What's your secret to living a long life? I mean, you got some sort of tricks that we could use? And he says, I dare not tell you. And then they're like, well, okay, no, come on, you can tell us, right? What's your secret? And he's like, and he leans over and he whispers, but of course he's got a lav mic, so you can hear what he says. He goes, I masturbate a lot. And, I'm like, thank you. Thank you. When I was introduced to that actor, he was in the Disney film The Black Hole back in the 70s. And there was just something about his voice. I mean, granted, at the time I didn't realize, but he was already a big star. He'd done like McHale's Navy back in the 50s or whenever the hell it was. So he was a known guy, like ex-military, that kind of became an actor sort of thing. And but his presence on film just kind of, I locked into that, and he never changed from the 70s to when he was in his 90s. Like he looks the same to me. He never got old, and he was kind of like Brian Dennehy. Brian Dennehy, no matter how old he got, he was never old. He just had that presence. And sadly, Brian Dennehy passed away.
Still around?
Who?
Abe Vigoda. Abe Vigoda was like my idol.
Did you ever go to that website?
Dead?
Well, there was a website called Is Abe Vigoda Dead? Or I think it was abevigoda.com. And you never went there? Basically, it was because he was an old guy. He just didn't seem to want to quit. He just kept going.
He looked elderly when he was on Barney Miller.
Exactly. He never aged. He was 900 years old in the 80s. He was 900 years old when he died. He didn't age. And that's the thing, right? Is that there was a website that I think is still around. It might be his name.com, or is he dead or something, and it just said no on it. And if you and the guy who ran the site just had a note saying, when he dies, I'll change this to yes. And that's all it was. Just no, he's not. And then the day he died, I heard on the news. I went to the website right away. It said he's now dead. Yes, he's dead. So it's like there should be a website for Shatner. There should be a website saying, is Shatner still alive? Yes, he is. He's still around.
We don't need a website for Shatner because as soon as he dies, I'm sure he'll all tell us.
Yeah, it's true. He'll let us know. It's really kind of amusing because I was thinking about Shatner a couple days ago because I noticed that a book got published recently by Walter Koenig, which is his second autobiography, because he wrote one back in the early 90s or late 80s or something. But so I really want to read it because he apparently it talks honestly again about what he thinks of Shatner. So I'm kind of excited by that one because Shatner.
Is Koenig the youngest member of the cast?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He's not much younger than Sulu, but
we don't refer him by his real name. He's Sulu.
Yeah, exactly. Sulu. He'll always be Sulu. Actually, what's really funny is that I was Googling that Chekhov book autobiography, and I couldn't find anything. I'm like, I don't want to know about Chekhov the playwright. I don't know. I've been dead for 100 years. But until I realized I was looking it up incorrectly. Not to mention, I would like to know more. I mean, this is kind of a sad thing, but I would like to know more about his experience of his son hanging himself in Stanley Park. About 10, 15 years ago. Walter Koenig had a kid who was an actor as well. He was in a bunch of things in the 80s. He played, what was the role he got known for? Like Bumper or Boofer or something. I can't remember. I think it was Family Ties. But he played this sort of goofball character that's what got him noticed. Skippy, something like that, like a name like that. Boner. His character's name was Boner.
That was from Growing Pains.
Growing Pains, thank you. Yes. So anyway, I want to. Yeah. So, but what was his name? Andrew Koenig, I think. Anyway, the point is, he lived in Vancouver for a while, I gather, and just fell into depression and whatnot, and he gave away all of his stuff, and then he disappeared, and Koenig came up to look for his kid, and they found him in Stanley Park. The rumor is he hung himself. Now I don't know if that's true, but it was heartbreaking because there's somebody dying because of mental illness. But it's just one of those things where you kind of want to know what happened, what actually occurred, like how did he get into that sort of level of depression and that kind of stuff. But whatever. I'm gonna go read it because I've read every single autobiography that those actors have written, and there are no punches being pulled by some of them. it's like, and I it's an addiction. What can I say? Some people watch soap operas. I read autobiographies by actors that I know. One of the weirdest autobiographies I ever read was the one by Latino actor. He was in the Leguizamo. What's his first name? Yeah. That guy. You would see him and know him. And know who he is. And that was the weirdest book, man. That was the strangest thing about him doing Moulin Rouge, him doing the Bob Hoskins Mario Luigi film, whatever it was called. Like just cool stuff that you've seen him in. How he also did live theater and did the Fringe tours and all that kind of stuff, and it was just kind of cool. I just like artists, I guess, is really what I'm saying. But there you go. Dave, take off your shirt.
I don't think anybody needs to see that one.
No, I'm definitely feeling that. But so Dave, next week, by the way, we need you to trim your hair down because you got to join Locke, myself, and Alan, because as I was pointing out beforehand, I got frustrated with my long hair, and took actually I used my beard trimmer, which I didn't think would actually pull it off, but it did. It's much stronger than I thought.
I have to say, you're still looking like a long-haired hippie over there.
That's true. You know, I never
think
change.
You need to go down a level there.
Think fast, hippie. I don't know what that's from. What is that from? I know it's from a movie, Think Fast, Hippie, and I don't remember what it's from. That's your assignment this week, everybody watching. Where is the quote "Think Fast, Hippie" from? Whether it's a movie, and I just cannot remember where I heard it. And you know, what can I say?
Sounds like it'd be a Dirty Harry thing.
Yeah.
Possibly. I did watch Dirty Harry not too long ago, because it was one of those. Sorry, it wasn't called. What was it called? Enforcer, I think, or
Maybe.
what is the actual title? I can't remember. But I actually recommend watching the Deadpool with Clint Eastwood, because that is the strangest introduction I think anyone could ever have to Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey as a rock star lip syncing to Welcome to the Jungle. So take that as you will. I kid you not.
Well placed.
Yeah, it is very, very strange. And yeah, there you go. We've been streaming for almost an hour, boys. You still want to go for some more? Whoa! Suddenly, Dave is gone!
It's like, screw you guys, I'm going home.
Dave has left the building. I guess that's the end of the show because the cameras aren't set up to handle this.
Want to do it.
But anyway, Locke, if you lean to your left a little bit, we can all say goodbye. Thank you all for watching. Your other left, Locke. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back next time, hopefully next Wednesday, and hopefully Dave's computer hasn't set itself on fire, because that is always a concern for his machine. But anyway, we'll see you next week. And as always, Alan, don't take us out. I don't know. Sing something. I don't know. Sing something.
Goodbye, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. Take us. To go.